What is happening, everybody? True Evil here, and today I want to go over what are the best team compositions at the launch of Persona 5X. Now, since this is the first day, I highly recommend not to be meta at the beginning because this is a really fun story game. So, in that regard, I would say use the characters that you enjoy the most. For instance, I love Panther and Catbro from Persona 5, so I'm definitely rocking them on my team during story. Now, I'm not going to be using them together once I get to in-game content, and that's what this is going to mainly be talking about, which are going to be the best teams for the first month. And this is pretty important to know how the teams work versus individual characters because in this game, even though some characters may be labeled as the worst on a tier list, they're actually one of the best characters in the game. And I'm going to go over that. So without further ado, let's go over the teams. So before we even begin, I want to stress that the most important thing with building a team is getting the duet bonus. Now, the reason why the duet bonus is the most important is because this is going to give you a 10% skill damage increase, which is very high. So having two characters of the same attribute is especially important. Now, when you get to three characters, it becomes very marginable with only a 2% increase. So it's most likely better to have a character that can do, say, buffs or debuffs to really push over the damage, and that most of the time is going to be better than that 2% increase. So now let's just go straight into the teams. The first team we are going to talk about is the Fire team. Now the Fire team is arguably the best team to build at the game because most people will use their selector for Panther, and the reason is because Panther has the most future proofing into accounts going later into the game. So a lot of people want to choose her, and not only that, she's a fan favorite and her attacks are awesome because she features a lot of multi-target attacks that increase her damage. Pretty much every attack she has makes her do more damage, and she can inflict burn. So just an amazing DPS all around, and we really want to increase her power. And because of this, our team is going to feature three fire characters, so we're going to get that 12% increase in the fire skill damage. But before we go to the support units that are going to go alongside Panther, let's talk about the best navigator for her. There are two navigators to choose from, and I believe that Tomiyama is going to be her best one because Tomiyama is going to be able to increase the party's damage, but not only that, it also increases damage dealt to foes with an element ailment. And a lot of the other units we're going to be using are going to really help with inflicting that burn. So because of that, this is going to be a huge power increase, and she is just going to be miles ahead better for the Fire team as the navigator. She's also shown on tier lists to be pretty weak sauce, and I just don't agree with it. I think she's pretty much the best navigator to use at the early stages of the game, and since there's only two for the first month, well, you're gonna have to build both of them. So for the Fire team, Tomiyama definitely the best one. For our healer, we're going to be using Cattle, and the reason why we're going to be using Cattle is because of his heal is able to increase the party's attack. And this is going to be really important because we're just maximizing the amount of damage that Panther can be doing. So not only are we getting that increase of fire skill damage because they're the same attribute, also just a healer that pairs well with the DPS. So pretty much a no-brainer. And this healer in particular wants to be on the Fire team more so than being the healer for the other party compositions we're going to talk about. So for the Fire team, definitely pick Cattle. Now, the final character we're going to use for the Fire team is going to be Kurotani. Now, Kurotani is really low on a lot of tier lists, and once again, I do not agree with this character being low because this is arguably the best support with Panther. And that is because not only does he help increase fire damage taken, he's also a very strong character for inflicting burn. And because of that, he is going to be able to get Tomiyama's damage increase really going, and we're just going to be able to do insane amounts of damage with Panther. So we're using basically every possible angle to increase our damage. We're going to get that 12% fire skill damage, and we're using our navigator to absolutely maximize the damage to have an absolutely insane Panther. By far one of the best teams to build in the first month, but there are definitely other options, so let's go to the next team. Now, the next team composition we're going to talk about is the Wind team. Now, the reason why the Wind team is so good is because it utilizes one of the best DPSs that isn't a premium unit, and that is Shiratori. And Shiratori is really strong because he features a lot of multi hits. 3 hits, 4 hits. He's doing a ton of attacks, and because of that, we want to maximize this potential. And due to that, we want to get the duet bonus, and the only other win character at release is going to be Mona. Now, some people have been saying that Mona is not a good character to pull and that you should reroll if you get her. And I just personally don't agree with that. I think Mona has a lot of utility at the beginning of the game. And the reason we're using Mona on this team comp is because of the wind damage bonus, but Mona is also going to be good on a lot of the other teams we're going to talk about today. So definitely a strong choice. Now, the reason why the Wind team is so good is not only can it use a DPS that isn't a premium unit, but utilizes the Shielder Navigator the best. And that is because the best support unit for this team composition is going to be Haruna. And that is due to the increased damage, which is going to really help the multi-hits, and we want to really help the multi-hits as much as possible. So getting this increased damage is just going to help us really deal the juice. And not only that, but because we're using Haruna, this is going to help increase the shields and just make our navigator even better. And because we only have 2 options of navigators, we want to maximize both of them since we're going to have to use both of them. So this support unit is amazing. Now, this is a limited character though, so not everyone is going to have it. So the option for the SR, if you don't have that, is going to be Tomoko. And the reason is because she also helps increase damage and just has that sleep support. So this is definitely a really good team to have. And the good thing is it has a lot of options, whereas the Panther Fire team is going to really just want very specific units. There is a little bit of options in the Wind team, and it's just a really good secondary team. So let's keep going. Now, the next team we're going to talk about is the Curse team. And the reason why the Curse team is so strong is because it features the first limited character in Persona 5X, which is Joker, who is the main character of Persona 5. So a lot of people are going to want to build the Curse team. And the reason why Joker is so strong in this game is because he can take extra actions and just do more damage while he does that. And due to this, we want to utilize a debuffer, and luckily the best support unit in the game is a debuffer who is Rin. Rin is so strong because she is able to just make the enemies take more damage and decreases the defense. So just making Joker really launch out on his potential. The problem with Rin is, well, she's the hardest to get character in the game in my opinion, and due to this, not everyone is going to have her. So we need to have another option, unless if you're willing to reroll for this character, but personally, I don't think rerolling is worth it in this game. So the character that you would subsidize Rin for is going to be Sumi. Now, we really want that 10% extra curse skill damage, so Sumi is going to be helpful in that front, but instead of giving us that defense down and more damage, what we're getting is another DPS who can help heal. And due to that, it is a little bit of a feels bad because, we want to have the best support in the game, but it's okay if we don't, because Joker is such a good DPS, it's totally fine not to have this. But due to that, we're going to need a healer that can inflict defense down to really make up for that. And due to that, the 2 best characters are going to be Shun and Mona. Mona is a strong healer option because of Windswept, which is going to decrease defense, but this is only 12%. And Shun actually is going to help us with defense down even more, which I do believe it's 18%. Oh, even more. He is has an absolutely insane defense damage, as well as he is going to be able to increase the party's max HP with a heal. So a lot of really strong heals, has a taunt, and because of the taunt, it's going to make it so our secondary DPS, if we don't have Ren, is going to be able to heal him, and them paired together is going to be extremely strong. So if you are using the team without Ren, definitely use Shun, and Mona also works as well. It's just going to depend on who your personal preference is, and for me, you know, Catbro is my favorite character in Persona 5, so I'm going to use Mona whenever I can. So let's keep moving on, and if you want to know which navigator to use with the Curse team, well, personally, I would say use the attacker, unless if you're using the fire team, then use the shielder. I think the Curse team is so strong that it doesn't really matter which one you use. So let's talk about the last team comp. Now, the last team we're going to talk about is the Ice team, and the reason we're only going to talk about 4 teams is, well, a lot of the other elements don't have a pair, so even though Lightning could be a good option, there's just not a character to pair to get that extra 10% damage increase, and there's not a character to pair with Physical to get the extra 10%, so even though a character like Skull might be able to do more damage by himself, but we're playing a team game, and due to that, we want to get the team bonuses and make all our characters stronger, and that extra 10% and synergy is going to outshine just raw damage for most of the time. And the Ice team is actually really fun to use because it's the only, say, control team in the game. And because of that, if we're using the attack navigator for the fire team, something like that, it's nice to have an Ice team option. And the other great thing about the Ice team is that you can use the Ice team without using any of the limited or premium characters. So that's nice to know. Now, the DPS for the Ice team is going to be Katone, and that is because she is just doing a lot of damage, but she can inflict freeze. Now, freeze is going to be a crucial part of this team comp because it decreases attack. And the reason why this is a control team is because we're lowering their attack with freeze, and then we're using Shun to be a taunter slash making us have more HP and just having great heals. It's going to be really fun making it so that the enemy just can't beat you no matter what. And due to that, we have this really strong healer and attacker to go with it. This is going to be the team comp where you can pair it with pretty much anyone you want. You can add a debuffer, you can add a buffer, or you can just use Skull, which is who I would actually recommend with this team. This is going to be the best team to really make Skull shine because Skull is probably one of the best boss damagers in the beginning of Persona 5X. So we want to have a team that can really set it up for him to shine. And I believe that the Frost team is going to have so much control that it's just going to let Skull really do his thing and win at this video game. So those are the 4 teams I really recommend, and because this is a control team, once again, it really works with the shielder. So because you're most likely going to be using the attack option with the fire team, it's really nice to have a control option to make use of the shields. So that's going to be my first Persona 5X guide. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know if you're enjoying the game. I have absolutely been blown away with how great the story is so far, and it is the only gacha game I've played probably in the last year or so where I didn't want to just skip every bit of the story. So definitely an amazing game, and I will be continuing making guides along with my Ethereal ones. So see you next time.